So now into the loft space. Radiator on the wall, no problem. Carpets, I mean, they're about 20 years old I think, so they are in a reasonable condition. We haven't put any extra marks onto them. There's a big draft that comes through these doors. No insulation there and we get a really bad draft through. But I'll shut that up. It's just got the stuff in there that was there when we moved in. And a few cracks in the ceiling, just I guess due to all this wind and rain that we've been having recently. And there is a panel on the side of the loft on the outside that has fallen off, and the landlady pointed it out to us in the summer and said she was going to get it fixed but never did. Here are the missing rugs from downstairs. We don't really know where they were, so here they are if you need them. So yeah, no problem. A couple of marks, but just general wear and tear from using the house. Obviously it hasn't been painted for a long time. Carpets down from the loft. And we're going down through the door that's recently been fitted. It was fitted by someone to help with the cold, to stop that draft coming from the loft, but it's still very cold down here. Out into the landing, we can see the main reason for the cold is this window, which is leaking in. We've had to cover it in plastic, we've had to seal it with tape. We did bring it to the attention of the landlady and landlord, I think it was back in November. Still to be fixed. So the handle's here because we've taken the measures of sealing up the hole because water was coming out, but it still has come out. We can see water here. It's affecting the wall as well there. It's been pretty damp, but this still does blow a gale even though it's got this film covering over it. It's very cold. It's a very cold house, and the reason why we're moving mostly. And you can see there's a bit of dirt on the wallpaper. The wallpaper again has probably been here for 10-15 years. Workmen have been up and down to fix things, but they haven't done a very good job, but they've made a bit of a mess. The carpet's a bit dirty because they never took the shoes off. They weren't very professional, these people. Front spare bedroom, smallest bedroom of the three. There was a lot of damage near the wall, which the landlords did have repaired. They've had it replastered. The plaster unfortunately left a bit of a mess, lots of plaster on the skirting board. So it was very messy in here, it got all over the carpet, which we have cleaned. We did then redo the wall, we did the wallpapering, which the landlords have seen, and were happy with it when they came and did their inspection in late December. Again, no problem with that. Nice clear wall. Everything's fine, lights working. Same fitting that they had originally. So the only problem really is that dirt that was left behind by the workmen. This is the front bedroom. We did do some decorating in here, and we had the permission of the people who own it. What we noticed is that the wallpaper was peeling off the wall. Now we've noticed that on the other side of this wall there's damp rising, which we've got pictures of. So unfortunately the wallpaper is peeling off because of the damp and the cold within this wall. So that needs to be fixed before another tenant comes in. In this little cubby hole we did find that there is a hole up in the ceiling where the pipes went, and we've only just found this out when we left. We realised that it was very cold in this bedroom, and that's just going through into the cavity and blowing a gale. So my son was constantly getting cold because his bed was here, so that needs sorting as well. Cupboards are in good condition, all the mirrors fixed perfectly fine, no problem with the cupboards. Inside as well, all drawers working, and then no damage to anything within the cupboard itself. Same with the drawers on this side, all working, no problem whatsoever. That was just got a little bit of just pulled off a little bit, that's fine. Maybe that one needs fixing. All the cupboards on this side, perfect working order, no problems with them, all nice and clear. No need to worry too much about that, it's all as it was. Behind the door, no problems with the door, no damage to it. Nice and clear, these are the original switches that they put on that do look a bit odd. Within the bathroom, you can see we changed the mirror that was originally there for a cleaner, brighter one. It's a brand new mirror, more or less, that one. Now, these door handles, we've noticed that they've never been screwed on properly. We can see there's only ever been one screw there when there should have been two. So they're all coming off. That one there's only got one in. And actually, if I open this one here, it's going to fall off in my hand because that's the same. It's only ever been screwed on by one. So I'll give it a go, but I just don't want it to fall off. There it goes, there it goes. That's been happening for a while now. But we can see that up there, one screw holding it in so it spins around, one screw holding it in. It's just not very well put together. I'm just going to pull this down a second. And we'll put that back on in a minute. That's what I had to do on a daily basis. And then looking around, we've got cupboards. Under here there was a bit of a leak, so it was all rot on the wood. So they ripped it out and put some foam filler in. Not a very good job at all. I'd replace that wood myself, but obviously it's not my house, so I'm not willing to pay for that. Cupboard empty. These cupboards all open and shut, fine. And then we've got the shower enclosure. This ventilation unit was meant to be changed, but the person that came to do it didn't change the thing. They just filled it with expanding foam filler to stop the air coming through, because there's a big flow of air coming through from the cavity, and that will cause another gale in here. But I think because it's been sealed, it's caused a lot of problems. There's mould up on the top there. We've got mould down in the shower cubicle. Now I've tried as best to clean this off, but it's just not coming off. I believe this is just due to the fact that now there's no ventilation at all, so it's very mouldy. We've done our best to clean it, but like I said, I think that needs addressing. We need to get the correct one for that. We waited a week for them to come with the correct one after they checked it, and then the one that they brought wasn't the correct one, so they just decided to fill it instead. Looking around, we've got different types of bulbs in the ceiling. That was always the case. Some of these actually move as well if you touch them, but I'm not going to. Radiator, good condition. Bath, it's just sort of general usage. Could do a little re-grout. Some of the grout is a little bit worn and ropey. Like I say, I don't know how long this has been the case with this bathroom, but if I owned the house, I'd like to get a new bath suite, but I don't. Windows fine, no problems with that. So into the front living room, we've painted the walls and we have wallpapered that wall near the fireplace with permission, and it's been seen, all the decorating has been seen by the landlord and landlady and they've been happy with it. Now we've noticed that someone came to seal the skirting boards, and because the couch was here it seems to have just gone like this and then got halfway across. He hasn't bothered doing the rest, which is a bit disappointing, but we didn't notice that because the couch was there and we assumed they'd brought it out. He's had a go at doing this, but it still has come away a little bit from the wall. We removed the old blinds with the permission of the owner. We threw them away because she said she didn't need them or want them. We replaced them with new ones when we did the redecoration, and we're leaving them in. We're not going to take them with us. Back room, dining room, we just put a border on, replaced the border that was there. Walls themselves, perfectly fine. Carpet, what you'd expect after so many years of use and wear and tear. Did our best to keep it clean. The wardrobe, the cabinet unit there, all the drawers empty, and the TV cabinet, the TV stand is still on the wall that was there before. Originally the TV was broken, so we replaced it with our own TV, didn't leave it here. The mirror is the original mirror that wasn't in the centre, but it's been there for 18 months and we haven't bothered moving it. Into the conservatory, nothing wrong with the floor. Radiator fine, windows nice and clean, no smashed or cracked windows, doors working, no problem at all with any of that. So here's the kitchen, all the pieces in place, all the switches working, the oven works, same blind as before, nice and clean. That's the bag of the lady from Hunters. Cupboards all empty. Oh, apart from that one packet. One packet of cold relief. Stick that in my pocket. There's the smart meter. There we go. And then we've got the fridge area. The washer was replaced by the landlord and landlady. The guy, an odd job man, did the work, put the cabinet in to just box it in, half box, partial box. This is not very straight the way that it's done that, you can't really see it on the video. The fridge freezer broke, we replaced it ourselves. There was a big hole in the wall there that their odd job man came to fix, done an odd job. He's filled in a hole there as well because it was blowing quite a gale. We're leaving the freezer for them. We replaced it out of our own money. Here?
Yeah, at the top, that big black wire.
Oh yes, there's a mains wire coming through there, which is quite a dangerous thing, coming straight through the main supply to the box on the wall, which has got a hole in the wall there. I think that's where they fit it. See a few cracks, I don't know where the cracks are coming from, but that's not to do with us. Here's the oven in the kitchen, nice and clean. We've cleaned it, but we found out that, as you can see, it was never fitted properly. No screws in that hole, never any screw holes there. Same at the bottom, never actually been fitting properly. And it's a good job that we noticed this early on, because we didn't want to be pulling this out on top of our son's head, which could have happened. You know, it moves quite easily. I can just pull it out with one hand and it just moves out of the area, because there was never ever any screws in there. And again, just a proof of the sort of quality of the workmanship that these guys employ. So I'll just push it back in. Obviously, if that comes out a little bit when we're using it, which it did do in the past, that could cause some sort of agitation to the gas pipe and could cause a gas leak. So that's a potentially very dangerous problem that, again, they're just not bothered about. We've told them about that over the fence. Yeah, we'll come and get it sorted. Never got it sorted. I don't know if you can see when I step back, we never had anything round on there, we had a square picture, but you can see that the decoration is quite dated and old and dirty anyway, because that's something that they had there before we moved in 18 months ago. So obviously the wallpaper isn't very new, so no complaints about that really when they're leaving us things like that to try and cover up. Looking at the doors are fine, no problem. Still a little bit cold on these tiles under my feet, but the tiles are very cold. The grout has been coming out of the floor just because of the traffic coming through here and the family living here. We have made them aware of that grout. They did say before Christmas that they was going to get it sorted, but still, as of yet, nothing. So quite a lot of places where the grout has come out and the tiles are loose. That's not neglect, it's just high traffic and use of the area. We've got the garden kept in good condition. We tidied it ourselves. Bin's full. You can't see well, you can just see the damp, but it's better on a dry day. It's rising in that front bedroom. The door's fine. No problem with the rest of the house. The bin's full, obviously. We can't put it out because they don't come until Friday. In the coal hole. In fact, first of all, I'll just show you this pipe work. It's just dripping out. It's very, very funky. Inside here, this is just what we were left with in the first place. Some more tiles from their house and the usual recycling stuff. There's the meter. And then if we go around the back, I can show you the back garden. Kept it reasonably clean. Obviously it's the middle of the winter, so we can't really do much with it. But then when I look back up, you can see the piece of wood that's been hanging off there since the summer, and they still haven't got it fixed. That's probably causing a little bit of damp up there as well. You can just see there, it needs fixing, and they've just put it off and put it off and put it off and never done it. Yeah, they expect us to make things perfect. But the garden's fine, we kept the garden well. These are just flags that were flung about the garden, I just put them all in one area. Inside the garage we've got the room that belongs to the landlord. We've emptied it of all our possessions, nothing in here, give it a good sweep. Just at the bottom there's some of the wood that was used in the kitchen that used to house the fridge freezer, and then there's the table that has always been left in here that belongs to the landlord and landlady. That's their kitchen table. There is this wire that's been a concern of ours a little bit. It's just kind of taped up. It could well be a live wire, but I'm really reluctant to touch it. That should be made safe. That's not safe, that I don't think. Put some sort of ticket on it, but it's saying warning from British Gas. I think that's been condemned and that shouldn't be there. That really is dangerous. I used to make sure that my son didn't come in this garage, because if he touched that he might end up blowing himself up. As usual, bodge job.